When a woman senses that a man is no longer as interested as he once was, the first thing she notices is not the big, obvious actions, but the subtle shifts in energy and vibe. Women are naturally intuitive when it comes to emotions, and they can feel when something is off, even if no words are spoken. Your body language begins to tell a different story. Maybe you don't look her in the eyes as much as you used to. Maybe your smiles feel a little forced, or the warmth in your tone has faded. These tiny, almost invisible changes send a powerful message that you are no longer fully present with her. When you were interested, everything about the way you moved, the way you touch her hand, the way you laughed at her jokes showed her she was your focus. Now, without you even realizing it, you may have stopped doing those things and she feels the difference deep down. Women are highly sensitive to shifts in attention because attention is a form of love to them. When you were enthusiastic, you texted her quickly, you made plans eagerly, and you asked about her day with genuine curiosity. But now, if you take longer to respond, give shorter answers, or act distracted when she's talking, she starts putting the pieces together. This is not just about what you say, it's about the energy behind what you say. Even a simple, yeah, okay, can sound distant and cold when your interest is fading. The vibe changes from being light and playful to flat and mechanical. She notices that the spark between you doesn't feel the same, and that's when her internal alarms go off. At first, she may try to dismiss it, telling herself you're just tired or busy, but if the pattern continues, her intuition becomes louder. Women are wired to look for emotional security in a relationship, and when they sense that security slipping, they start to react. This can make her more observant, paying close attention to how often you compliment her, how you touch her, or even how you look at other people when you're out together. She might not say anything right away, but she is watching, feeling, and analyzing. This change in vibe is often what triggers the entire chain reaction of her behavior. It sets the stage for her testing, her emotional reactions, and even her eventual decision to pull away or fight for the relationship. The shift in your energy is the very first signal that something is wrong, and it's powerful enough to make her rethink everything about where she stands with you. When a woman feels that energy shift, it can be the beginning of distance or the wake-up call that makes both people re-evaluate the connection. When she starts to feel that something has changed, the next natural step for her is to begin testing and probing. This is not always about playing games or being manipulative. Most of the time, it's her way of looking for reassurance. When a woman senses that your interest is slipping, she wants to know if what she's feeling is real or if she's just imagining it. So she will ask questions, sometimes directly, sometimes subtly, just to see how you respond. She might say something like, "You don't text me like you used to," or "Are you busy lately?" These are not random comments. They are invitations for you to either reassure her that you're still invested or confirm her fears that your feelings have changed. This is also when she may test you emotionally, pushing small buttons to see how you react. If she feels you are becoming distant, she might bring up something that would normally get your attention, like teasing you playfully or mentioning another guy just to see if you care. She's measuring your response because your reaction tells her everything she needs to know about where you stand. If you used to get curious or protective, but now you just shrug it off, that tells her your emotional investment has dropped. These tests can sometimes show up as little disagreements or arguments that seem to come out of nowhere. She may question why you didn't call when you said you would, why you canceled a plan, or why you seem distracted when she's talking to you. It may feel like nagging, but from her perspective, it's about confirming whether she still matters to you. Women use these moments to gauge your consistency and reliability because those things represent safety in a relationship. Her probing can also be less direct. She might ask you about the future, about how you feel, or about where the relationship is going, not necessarily because she's pressuring you, but because she wants to feel that she's still important in your life. Your answers, your tone, even how fast you reply to these questions all give her data that she uses to decide her next move. If she doesn't feel satisfied with your reassurance, her tests may intensify. This is often where tension can rise in a relationship because the man feels like she's being dramatic while she feels like she's being ignored. In truth, she's simply trying to protect her heart before it gets hurt even more. This stage is critical because it determines whether she feels safe enough to stay emotionally invested or whether she begins to pull away to protect herself. When a woman feels that your attention is slipping and her questions or tests don't give her the reassurance she needs, she often shifts into a stage where she starts seeking your attention more actively. This isn't always conscious. Many times it's her instinct trying to restore the connection. You may notice her becoming more playful or flirty, doing things she knows used to make you smile. She might put an extra effort to look good around you, dress in a way that she knows catches your eye, or change her hairstyle just to spark a reaction. These are not just random actions, they are subtle ways of saying, see me, notice me, don't let me fade into the background. Social media often becomes a tool in this stage. She may start posting more pictures, sharing moments that she knows you'll see, or putting up stories that hint at her feelings. If she feels like you're ignoring her in private, she might try to get your attention publicly. You might even notice her being more active online at times when she knows you're scrolling. Sometimes this attention seeking can take the form of light jealousy tactics, casually mentioning someone who complimented her or showing how much fun she's having without you. It's not always about manipulation, but about creating a little spark of curiosity in you, hoping you'll re-engage. This phase can actually be very telling because if she is still trying to get your attention, it means she hasn't given up yet. She still wants the connection to work. Her actions are a sign that she values the relationship enough to fight for it, even if her way of doing so feels a little dramatic from your perspective. You might notice her laughing louder when you're around, being more affectionate, or initiating more conversations. These are all ways to bring back the energy that feels lost. On the flip side, if her efforts to get your attention go unnoticed or unappreciated, it can push her closer to the next stage where she begins to pull back emotionally. This is why this phase is so important. It's her last attempt to reignite your interest before she decides it's not worth the effort anymore. Sometimes men misinterpret this stage as her being needy or desperate, but in reality, it's often just her trying to repair the bond before it breaks completely. She wants to feel chosen again, to feel like she matters enough for you to re-engage emotionally. If you notice the stage and respond with presence and genuine attention, it can actually strengthen the relationship rather than push it apart. When her need for attention is met with care and authenticity, the connection can be rebuilt, but if it's ignored, it becomes the turning point where she starts protecting her heart instead of chasing yours. When her attempts to get your attention don't bring back the response she was hoping for, she eventually reaches a point where she starts to pull back. This isn't always about punishing you or playing games. It's often her way of protecting her emotions from getting hurt any further. Women feel deeply, and when they sense that their efforts to reconnect are not being reciprocated, they begin to mirror the energy you are giving them. If you are distant, she becomes distant. If you are slow to respond, she matches that pace. What once felt like a relationship full of warmth and constant interaction now starts to feel cooler, quieter, and less consistent. You may notice her taking longer to reply to your messages, becoming more involved with her friends, or spending more time on her own. She might stop initiating conversations and leave it up to you to reach out first. This is not just her being cold, it's her way of giving you space while also giving herself space to process what she's feeling. It's almost like she's stepping back to see whether you will step forward. This withdrawal can show up in other ways too. She might stop sharing details about her day, stop asking you about yours, or even stop including you in her plans. If she used to tell you everything, from what happened at work to what she's thinking about for dinner, and suddenly she no longer does, it's a clear sign that she's emotionally protecting herself. This shift can feel confusing to a man because it may seem like she changed overnight, but in reality, it is the result of a gradual buildup of unmet emotional needs. Pulling back is also a way for her to regain her sense of control. When she was trying to get your attention and not getting it, she likely felt powerless, like she was the only one trying to keep things alive. By withdrawing, she is taking her energy back and reminding herself that she does not have to keep giving if she isn't being met halfway. This is her moment to breathe, to center herself, and to figure out what she truly wants moving forward. Sometimes this stage is the wake-up call in a relationship. When she starts to pull back, it often forces the man to decide whether he is willing to step up and reinvest in the connection or let it continue to fade. If he does nothing, her emotional distance will only grow, and eventually she will adapt to a life without his presence. When the emotional distance becomes undeniable, a woman often reaches a point where her feelings spill over into visible emotional reactions. This stage can look very different depending on her personality and attachment style. Some women cry, expressing sadness and heartbreak over feeling like they are losing the man they care about. Others get angry or frustrated, not because they hate you, but because anger feels safer than vulnerability. Either way, what you are seeing is the emotional impact of your withdrawal finally coming to the surface. Crying is one of the most common reactions. When a woman cries in this situation, It is not just about one moment or one conversation. It's about the accumulation of everything she has been feeling. She may cry because she misses the way things used to be, because she feels rejected, or because she is scared that she has lost her place in your life. Tears can also be her way of trying to break through to you to make you see how much the relationship matters to her. It is her heart's final plea to get your attention on a deeper level. For some women, instead of tears, the reaction comes out as anger or frustration. She might call you out on your behavior, question why you are being distant, or even accuse you of not caring anymore. To a man, this can sometimes feel like she is picking a fight, but it's actually her way of expressing hurt. Anger is often a protective emotion. It helps her feel strong when she feels powerless. By expressing her anger, she is really saying, "This matters to me, and I don't want to lose you." These emotional reactions are not meant to push you away, even though they sometimes have that effect. They're usually her last attempt to save the connection. She is showing you just how deeply your withdrawal has affected her. If she didn't care, she wouldn't react at all. She would simply stay distant and move on quietly. The fact that she is emotional means that, at least on some level, she still wants things to work. This is a critical moment in the entire process because how you respond to her emotions will often determine what happens next. If you dismiss her feelings, tell her she is overreacting, or avoid the conversation, she may shut down completely and begin preparing to leave emotionally. But if you take her feelings seriously, listen to what she is saying, and show that you understand why she is hurting, it can open the door to repairing the connection. After the emotional wave passes, a woman eventually reaches a decision point, and this stage is where everything becomes clear for her. She has felt the shift in your energy, tested to see if you still care, tried to grab your attention, pulled back to protect herself, and even let her emotions show, but now she stands at a crossroads. This is where she decides whether she will continue to invest in the relationship or walk away for good. It's not a decision she takes lightly because by this point she has already put in effort, energy, and emotion to try to make things work. In this stage, she steps back mentally and begins to weigh her options. She asks herself hard questions. Do I still feel valued here? Am I the only one trying? Do I want to keep giving to someone who isn't giving back? This internal dialogue is powerful because it helps her regain her sense of clarity. For many women, this is also where their self-respect kicks in. If she feels that she has done everything she can and nothing has changed, she may choose to focus on herself, her happiness, and her own future. Sometimes, however, this is also the moment when she decides to give it one last shot. If she still sees potential in the relationship, she may openly express her feelings one more time, clearly stating what she needs from you. This is her way of saying, "This is where I stand. If you want this too, meet me here." This final act of honesty can either bring two people back together or create closure that allows her to move on with peace. For a man, this decision point is just as significant. If he notices that she has reached this stage, he has a chance to either step up and re-engage or let her go. Many men realize too late that her quiet detachment was actually the sign that she had already made her choice. By the time she stops arguing, stops trying to get your attention, and stops showing emotion, she may already be gone in her heart. The decision point is the most powerful moment in the entire process because it shapes what comes next. It is where endings or new beginnings are created. Some relationships find a new spark here as both partners recommit to each other. Others quietly dissolve with both people walking separate paths. This stage is not about punishment, it is about clarity and self-respect. When a woman reaches this point, she chooses the direction that gives her the most peace, and that choice determines whether the relationship survives or becomes a memory.